Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers,
Let's get this show on the road. I'm Michael McCall,
I'm Steve Pander.
And I'm Zachary Adam Eisenhower.
and we are bringing you a special, our very first live post-game show from BC Place. Air conditioning's loud, Wi-Fi is spotty, technical difficulties, but who cares because the Whitecaps got 3 points, beat the Cascadian rivals, and everything is great in the world.
It's a good Friday, and definitely a good Friday for the Whitecaps.
Oh, it feels so good to beat
Yeah.
the Flounders.
And the first question that everyone is wanting us to ask, Zach, are you still referring to Fredy Montero as the loanee?
For the time being, yes.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I will say tonight, I think his former team must really like him because they gave him a ton of space on both of his goals. But maybe we'll talk about that more later. I'm looking forward to talking to Fredy, maybe for AFTN or maybe not. But
Break bread with him?
Hopefully
some
for
bread,
AFTN.
break some bread and talk about life and yeah.
But it was a fantastic thing. What we're going to do with this show, we don't know how it's going to work. We're hoping that everything holds out until the very end. We're going to bring this out as a podcast on Saturday morning as well, iron out all the kinks. We've got some audio lined up from Montero himself and Carl Robinson. Why do we have it from Bobby Lenarduzzi? It's because I see that Lobby Benarduzzi is signed into the chat. That's what kind of threw me there for a minute. And then we also have some audio from the Sounder side, head coach Brian Schmetzer, Stefan Frei, Cristian Roldan, and Will Bruin, a favourite here at AFTN. Talk a little bit about the match though to start with. The first half was really a kind of a have to forget. Not a great performance from the Whitecaps. The opening period, they were really under the cosh. Towards the end, they kind of generated a few chances and got a little bit of things going, but you just didn't feel that there was a goal coming from the Whitecaps. And for all that first half, you just felt that if the Sounders got the first goal, that was going to be the end of it. The Caps were going to fold, and it was going to be game over.
And they were dominating, and it came close. The Dempsey shot off the crossbar from distance, that was almost like the goal from earlier
Yeah,
today.
he's no David Villa, though.
No.
Deuce hit the post twice.
Yeah, that's what the Deuce stands for, 2 posts.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the first half, it was a have to forget.
But not all of it. It's the beginning especially, but
the beginning was great because I was sitting watching the game on the TV with Carl Valentine, so I really enjoyed the first 10 minutes of it.
No, but they wrestled back some of the momentum, but it wasn't anything to be right home about. I agree with that. It was definitely, overall, the half wasn't that great, but there were moments where the Whitecaps had chances. Bolaños with the header that just missed the net. Teixeira played pretty well in that first half. I thought a couple of runs down the side. But overall, yes, I agree the Sounders were the superior team.
The second half as well.
To begin with.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to look. We've got the stats here. Dig this out. So the first half stats, amazingly, looking at the passing accuracy, it was good for both teams. The possession, though, Seattle in that first half had 58% possession, Whitecaps 42%. It certainly felt like that.
And by the end of the game, it was 61 to...
The second half, the Whitecaps get 2 goals on 34.3% possession.
It's not the amount of possession, it's what you do with it.
It's what you do with it, yep.
That's what the Seattle coach said as well.
Yeah, my wife says that all the time as well. Like, the size of it isn't important, it's like the end result.
Yeah.
And like banging in a couple, that pleases everyone.
Now, the passing accuracy, like you agree with you that it was not too bad, but the Sounders attempted way more passes, and obviously that comes with the possession and everything. So that's a huge thing. The Whitecaps did win duels. They won on that stat, and they definitely had more tackles. And obviously, because of the Sounders had more possessions, they had more clearances than the Sounders.
And the total shots in the end, Whitecaps 11 total shots and 15 to the Sounders in the end. So I mean that was kind of a little bit whatever. And I guess we'll kind of have to look at the goals. Like the first one.
Montero's.
Well, they're both Montero's.
Oh, yeah.
The first one came a little bit out the blue, maybe a little bit unexpected. But
it was a little bit. I think there was a turnover falling up. But
talk us through it, because I'm still in a fog from the match.
Bola picked up the ball around midfield and got it out wide to Chera. It was a simple cross in. If you check the replays, Montero actually kind of was really playing with Svensson, their new center back, and kind of moving away from him, moving out of there. And finally, when the ball came in, he just beat him to the ball. It went right over Svensson's head, and I think Montero, it wasn't a clean header. It kind of landed on his shoulder, but he was able to nudge it in with his head.
Svensson looked awful.
Yeah, he was lost on that basically. Montero ran around him.
Not having Roman Torres fit and available for this match or starting for this match was huge in the end. Svensson, like he looked. I think it was on your pre-game podcast. You got the audio from Jordan Morris, and what did he say? I learned movement. I learned little things watching this guy play for Seattle back in the day.
Fredy
he has
Montero.
great movement, and you saw that on the goal. Just a little move in to out, sort of in and around Svensson, and Svensson was like left for dead. Like it was not good defending, but it was also great movement.
Yeah, by Fredy Montero.
And it kind of. Well, let's be honest. It was a bit of a smash and grab from the Whitecaps today.
Yeah.
A 2-0 victory would have seemed really generous, but the second goal came, Montero again, and
this was a Bola corner.
Montero is basically what the Whitecaps have not had, and Carl Robinson mentioned this after the game, and we'll play Robbo's post-game, or bits from Robbo's post-game press conference, but basically he mentioned the fact that the Whitecaps have not had a finisher in the box since Camilo left. And now we've got this guy that when the ball comes into the 6-yard area or in and around that, we've got a guy that can actually finish. It's been so long that we had a striker like that you kind of almost forgot what it was about.
Yeah, and the thing is, talking about that second goal, it was like we said, a Bola corner coming right to Waston. Waston got his head on it, but it wasn't going towards the net. It was going wide. Montero was able to sneak underneath once the header came in off Waston and just basically nudge it past Frei. It was another one where he just like kind of got away from his mark and just found the open spot.
So again, the marking was very poor, but I think the reason why it was poor was because it was a second ball, right?
Yeah, it was a second one. So he kind of lost it on the second, but he was able to be in the right spot where the ball he thought might be around.
Who was number 23? That's who was marking him. I don't know who 23 was for Seattle. It's not on there.
Oh, it's in the back.
Oh, it's on the back.
It's a substitute.
Substitutes.
Was it Wingo?
He again kind of got left for dead.
Yeah.
A little bit there, and but it was the second ball. It was because it was the second header.
Yeah.
There's a saying there. I can't say it in German, but there's a saying: 2 headers in the box equals a goal.
Makes sense.
For one, the same.
Especially because
the Germans are weird.
Yeah. Are you sure?
They're weirdly good at football.
Can I ask you? Are you sure this was a quote about soccer and football, but something else?
No, it was definitely
Two
about football.
heads in a box.
It was definitely about football.
We'll edit that out of the podcast.
I don't know what you're even talking about now. So, I mean, 2-0 up. Then it got a little bit squeaky bum time. Because, as everyone knows, 2 goals is the hardest lead in football.
Everybody
Apparently.
says it.
Everyone says it.
It's always on Twitter.
Must be true.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Seattle, to their credit, and I will give them some credit, they upped their game. They took it to the Whitecaps. Will Bruin pulled one back. Nice finish. I think it was the 85th minute.
AFTN favourite Will.
Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
still would like him here. He's not coming.
He proved his worth today.
Yeah.
I thought of you as soon as I saw he scored.
I actually thought it was the 85th minute. It's the 89th minute.
Yeah, it was.
But Laderos.
No, 86th minute was when Dempsey hit the post for the second time in the game.
Well, did David get fingertips of that?
No, that was the shot in like the 55th minute or something.
So that was straight post, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about Usted. He came up with some big saves at the start of the second half. 2 big ones in the space of about a minute.
Yeah.
The diving one and then recovering. I'd said in the pre-game show that we needed Usted to be the guy that nothing gets past. The guy that we've seen in the past that's not making... Yeah.
He'd be a wall for us.
And he had a great game. And he kind of had to. There was the little... After Bruin made it 2-1 with a minute to go, we're into 4 minutes of stoppage time, and then there was the kind of a little bit of heart pounding towards the end.
Basically at the death.
Yeah.
It was right at the death.
Usted lets the ball slip through his hands a little bit, but the man mountain, Kendall Wasson on the line, cleared it away.
Yeah.
Someone was saying to me afterwards, though, that it wasn't that big a clearance. He had tons of time. There was no one around him. That was a massive clearance.
Oh, it was huge. And the entire Flounders, like all their fins went up and like handball.
Yeah, and the thing is, this, one stat about Waston, he's had basically 12 clearances throughout the whole game. 6 of them came in the 85th minute and beyond, from within the box. So that's a huge thing when you're half of your clearances come in the last, say, 10 minutes of the match.
And for everyone that's listening on Mixlr, because some of this will be listening to the podcast, but if you're listening live, feel free to send us any messages in the chat or drop us any messages on Twitter at AFTN Canada, and we'll try and read stuff out during the game. Dave1H says that Germans aren't weird, it is just Zach. And I agree, if you're still referring to Fredy Montero as the low knee, that's you that's weird. We've got some audio queued up from Carl Robinson. So this is 3 minutes from his post-game presser. Cut out some of the more boring questions, some of the kind of weird questions.
Boring questions?
There were some boring questions there.
Not going to name names,
no.
But if you don't hear your question, you're boring.
Carl, nights like this, or why you brought Fredy in?
Yeah, it might have something to do with it. It was a good game today, really good game. They're a top team, they're the champs, we know that. And they started the game as if they were the champs. They got good players, they're confident, but we stuck with it. When you're in games and you're not having the play, it's important you have a good mentality. And our mindset going into the game was to be organised and disciplined. And when you get your chances, take them. And see Fredy done that. 2 goals is great for him, but it was a good game.
Is that the kind of striker that he is? You sort of don't notice him, and then he's in the right place at the right moment?
Yeah, I think it is. I read a statistic. I'm not a big stats person, but Michael reminds me all the time about stats. So I read one that he only had a certain amount of shots at Seattle, but scored a bundle of goals. So maybe he is. He had one in the first half, which I think he will be disappointed that he didn't hit the target. He's a coach, that's what goal scorers do, and we haven't had that, since Camilo left.
Carl, for as much as Montero get the headlines, was the real story of this game Parker, Waston defensively, or the team defensive effort, and also the fact that certainly for the first goal, Cristian Roldan, especially with his quality of crossing, all were influential tonight?
They were. Any game of football you play, every week is on weekdays, if you can get 7, 8, 9 performing at their highest levels, then you've got a chance of winning the game. And you mentioned 3 or 4, you mentioned the 2 centre-backs, Matthias and Teixeira, they were all playing at their levels today, and that's why we had a chance to win the game. So you've got to do your job. Your job, as I said there, Fredy's to score goals. Kendall's and Timmy's is to keep the ball out and defend the box, and they did that. And Cristian Teixeira's is to create goals, and he certainly did that. It's a wonderful ball. You know, it's the hardest ball in football to defend, obviously, but you need a goal scorer in there, and we had that today.
Carl, 6 league games in, how would you assess how the season has gone so far?
Decent. You know, I think that's an honest assessment. You know, after a wonderful Champions League run, we managed to beat Red Bulls and then get to play Tigres, a top team, and probably deserved to lose over the 2 legs. But we put a lot into that, and when you put a lot into that and you have league games after or before, your focus has to shift a little bit. And you know, I'm in charge. You know, it's my decision to really focus on the Champions League with the club, and you know, maybe the first couple of results took a hit based upon that, but you know, we could have gone the other way, but we didn't. I think everyone enjoyed the run, because we don't know when we'll get there again. So now we have to refocus for Major League Soccer, and it was an important game today. You know, yeah, it's a Cascadia game, we know that, and they're all intense, and there's lots of emotion, and there's stories all over the place. But that's why we have our 25,000 fans behind us. They're amazing. They really were amazing today, and we've got to give them something to shout about every time. If we do, and they give us that, and my players give them that, everyone's happy.
It's only game 6. It's easy for us to get carried away, certainly, either way this game goes. But you know, you win here, you're 2-3-1. You lose, it could be, you know, 1-4. It doesn't look too good. How important was this result?
Yeah, every result is important. Every game is important. You've got 4 tough games on the road. Depends the way you look at it, don't it? The half full or half empty glass. And I always look at it half full, because that's in professional sports. You have to believe, and you have to keep the faith. You know, do we care? 100% we care. We care about losing. It hurts, but we've also got to care about the group in there. So it was a big game for us. Big 3 points. It's only 3 points against our rivals. We know that. We'll rest up and we'll go again next week against our other rivals.
I know you always like to plan ahead. A gruelling road stretch coming up. Is the plan to use your squad to the max, or are you hoping to have a settled lineup going into that?
Well, I would love a settled lineup, but unfortunately, it's probably not going to happen. We're still obviously banged up, we know that. But I'll assess it this week. You know, I think every manager would like to play the same 11 players every game, but unfortunately that doesn't happen. And when it doesn't happen, you have to make decisions based, you know. I look at the kid. I look at Alfonso today. You know, he played 70 plus minutes, outstanding, really good stuff, and some young stuff, naive stuff. I need to give him a break. I need to give him a rest. But with the amount of injuries I've got, it's going to be very difficult. So things like that will play into my mind. But when we have Jordi back and Eric back and Brack back, and maybe 1 or 2 other little things on the boil, then we won't be bad. And then I can give him a rest and rotate a little bit more. But it's about finding ways to win games. Today we found a way.
One more.
It could have been a very emotional occasion for Fredy going against his former team. How do you make sure that he funnels that emotion in the right way and doesn't get too carried away in that way? Yeah, well, I think he's mates with Ozzy, isn't he? And they were kicking lumps out of each other and trying to get each other booked and sent off, and that's what happens. I just said to him before the game, I've been there, so I know what it's like, and it's important you enjoy it. You don't let the occasion pass you by. And Freddie's he's a calm guy. He does his talking on the football pitch, and I don't think he was getting anything in his head that shouldn't be. You know, I think he's got great respect for Seattle as we have here as an organisation, and you know, I think he showed that when he scored. But he's my player now. He's our player. We'll enjoy him, and it's Freddie's day today.
Thank you.
It was a big win. With the 4 road games coming up, it was a game basically that they had to win.
No, 100%. And like we said in the thing, the previous podcast, the pessimist in you thought we were not going to get anything, no points at all.
Yes.
1 point you had, so we're already triple that. So it's a matter of now just kind of sneaking more points here and there. If they can get you never know, they might be able to sneak one out of Portland at this point, the way they're playing.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much out of that.
I'm expecting 3.
Really?
And that would essentially put them in a huge role for the Cascadia Cup.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
Not only the
we're ahead
standings.
Seattle in the standings now.
Yeah.
And
they're
that's
struggling.
massive.
They're struggling. They got 6 points in 6 games, essentially. at
And,
this point.
and Portland, like, just thinks they're so good right now.
Well, they are. That's
No,
why
no,
they
but
think that.
They're ripe for the picking.
Right, they're overconfident sometimes.
Overconfident, yeah.
They're definitely not pessimistic.
No. But, I mean, the man of the moment was Fredy Montero. We've got Fredy Montero. It's an emotional night for him. He didn't
celebrate. He did.
Well, I was going to
celebrate
say
a little bit.
he didn't really celebrate, but he did.
He went down to the knees. The second
Dude,
one.
He put his head down and he put his eyes up, or put his fingers up. Put his fingers up. It's Easter weekend. Okay, he put his fingers up. He put his head down. The first one he went to his knees. If you're gonna call that a celebration and something he's doing against his former club, I think that's harsh.
That's kind of I call it a minor celebration. I agree with you that he'd probably be more animated if it was another team.
Oh, yeah.
Quick question. Good sign for the Whitecaps that on Good Friday it was 2 Christians that served up the goals.
I think
into
so.
the box.
Yes, it was it wasn't so much a good Friday, it's a effing fantastic Friday.
Yeah.
From Fredy effing Montero. I don't want to have to mark this as explicit, so I'm just saying effing. I'm going to get T-shirts made. It's like on the wrestling on WWE, you've got Seth freaking Rollins. Let's just get some Fredy freaking Montero T-shirts made up.
Sure. He's the architect to the goals.
Yeah. Great there. For all you wrestling fans, that was fantastic. Anyway, we've got Fredy Montero lined up now.
Wait, what did he say?
Well, I hope we have Fredy Montero lined up now. So let's get this going. This is Fredy Montero post-match. Just talking about what was a very emotional night for him.
Fredy, fantastic performance, 2 goals. Just talk about both of them in the game.
Yeah, super happy. Scored 2 goals in these kind of matches. It's always a dream for a forward. And today, I'm super happy that the team did a good job. We were looking through the week with this result, and thanks God we got it. It's a good one for us.
Fredy, can you describe the feeling of scoring against your former club tonight?
Well, more than feelings, I just want to say that I felt all the support from the fans whenever I scored the goal. After when they were saying my name, and I just want to thank all of them for the support. And yeah, it's my job. I enjoy scoring goal, playing football, and right now the team is, I think, in a good way for the rest of the season.
It's an emotional game for you, though. You muted celebrations on both goals. It was an emotional night.
Yeah, mixing of feeling, But at the end of the day, what makes me more happy is that the teams got the 3 points at home.
After the first goal, you kind of had a sense of relief. You let out a big sigh. Did you feel the pressure going into this game? Everyone was really watching to see how you would do.
Well, maybe during the week, but as soon as the game started, I left everything behind and I just focused on help the team, tried to find space, and when I had that opportunity in the first half, I knew the second one was coming. And that's what I did when I had the opportunity in the second half. We scored the first goal, and we kept going and scored the second one.
Do you have to hold yourself back from celebrating as you see the ball go in? It's natural to go and celebrate like you normally do. Did you kind of have to catch yourself a little bit?
Yeah, it's hard, especially when all my teammates came and they were hugging me and, saying different comments that they were making me more happy. But yeah, I did my best, and I hope that the message that I want to send to the Seattle fans was respect for them and for all that they gave me the 4 years that I was there.
It's only 6 games into the season, but you guys have a 4-game road trip coming up. How important was it to get the 3 points tonight, especially with the tough road ahead?
It's always good because we have extra motivation. We're going to be, for a while, away from the home. And we know the points that we lose here at home, we need to go away and bring them home. So for us, it's going to be just focus on make as many points as we can.
Fredy, do you think your 2 goals maybe will quiet some guys like Brad Evans?
Who?
Brad Evans?
I play for Vancouver Whitecap, so I don't want to make any comments about that. Just focus on my job. I'm thankful for the support of the fans here in Vancouver, and hopefully we can give them more goals and more points at home, of course.
Fredy, 6 games in, how would you assess the situation with this team? Where are things at?
Well, right now we are in the process of building the confidence of the team, knowing every player. I mean, we know that we have different quality, different players, but just starting the season, I know this team have more to give, and it's gonna come along the way.
Do you still think there's an issue in terms of creating chances?
No, I think in the stage that we are right now, we are fine. Obviously, we're trying to find that balance, between defending well and scoring goals.
So that was Fredy Montero there. Cock a hoop. But he's playing it down as well, kind of playing down his role, saying it was a good team effort, that the Caps were basically... The Caps were basically, it was a team effort.
Yeah.
I mean, Zach, what did you think of what Fredy said there? To stop playing about on your bloody phone.
I was just finding out that number 23 was Henry Wingo.
We told you that about 20 minutes ago.
I verified it. You guys didn't let me listen to the audio, so
the earphones were right here.
I think the comments were just fine.
Talking of comments, let's read some of the comments in the chat now.
Okay, so Funkmaster had one of the first comments. Defense and Parker in particular looked super panicky in the last 15-ish minutes. Poor outlet passes sent out, turned over immediately. Is that a concern? Like the panicky defense, but
I mean the defense has been up and down all season.
I think you have to expect with a lineup like that you're gonna look panicky when you're playing against guys like that, and they're going for it too at all stop, and you're kind of holding on. So it kind of happens like that, and when in almost every team. It's very rare you're going to get a calm defensive play from a team that's,
It's a derby game as well, and they're being put under a lot of pressure.
I think, obviously, they played well enough to win. Like, we played well enough to get a result.
I know, it's hard. You don't want to be critical when they get a win.
It's hard to be overly critical, I think, tonight.
Ronan Allen asked, what did Zach sing out when Montero scored? Loney, Loney, to the sound of Billy Idol's Money, Money?
No, there was some singing of goals mean goals. But, yeah.
We got one here. Ryan McLeod says, broken Fredy Montero could be his handle. That's a wrestling one just for Zach.
I don't speak wrestling.
Johnny A says our defence is looking better and better. I mean, I know we're being critical tonight, but I mean they were that close to having a clean sheet.
Yeah. No, Funkmaster actually followed up with another comment later on. Said honestly, at full strength since Philly, barring the Snowpocalypse 352 abortion, the Caps have actually looked decent overall.
That's a awkward word to use for that, but okay.
I'm just reading the comment. I kind of
followed up. Again, the preview podcast was amazing with the
it's amazing what I come up with at midnight on a Thursday night.
No, the audio. I saw the audio. I think you got there and talking to Robbo, where he talked about how it should have, or I think he's kind of said it should have been abandoned. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Yeah. It's MLS. MLS is MLS. Yeah. What I really found extremely intriguing in his words to you were when he referred to having games moved. And he implied it's easier for some to do than others.
Yes.
That spoke volumes, because that means one of two things. One, MLS made problems. Or two, maybe we didn't do enough to get games moved. And when you look at those two things, Dallas got games moved. So it can't be MLS only. So what did we not do to get games moved? And I'm just hypothesizing, But I'm guessing finances are involved, and we didn't do enough to get one or both games moved. Not that would have necessarily changed the result.
No,
but it would
have
prioritized that more.
Yeah,
and
not to do with the result, but it may have helped with
Totally.
the MLS campaign
MLS
more
results.
than anything.
And I think you heard it in tonight's comments from Robbo. He said, "I made this a priority. I made the Champions League a priority.
Yeah,
it wasn't we. It was I." Now maybe I'm just reading too much into things, but when I listen to that, I listened to tonight's audio. That it points to a bigger problem we know at this football club, which is finances.
That is a good thing. I did think it was interesting that Robbo did say that tonight. It's like, yeah, I made the Champions League a priority. And I was speaking to Stephen from Radio Cascadia. He was up from Seattle for the game. And he says, like, looking at it with kind of a neutral head on, he basically feels that the Whitecaps haven't had that bad a start to the season, all things considered, because the focus to people out with the city, the focus to those looking in was that our priority was the Champions League. And all things considered, we're now 6 games in. Yeah. We've got 2 wins. We've got a draw. We've got some defeats. But, yeah, I mean, I've been a bit cynical. And as was kind of mentioned a little bit further up in the chat here.
They want you to keep it going.
Yeah, when I'm cynical, they get points. And I'd written us off today completely. I thought it would be a 2 or 3-0 Sounders win.
You had your post-game article already written up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 2 or 3-0 Portland win next week. I'll just throw that out there. So Dave 1H says for me to keep it up, so hopefully we will. Johnny A says that this was the second game we won where we lost the coin flip.
So we won the other 4 then?
No, we've had so many matches where it's been like this and the results have been mixed.
Huh.
I could be dead wrong, but that's my recollection.
Finsky says, Finsky Nakamura, we could start calling him. Anyway, Finsky says, Williams is still suspect a few times. It was his man on the goal that Bruin scored. It did come in from Lodero. It came in really fast though.
Yeah.
But he did lose Bruin a little bit, and then Bruin is a finisher.
Yeah. And he scored. I think they were talking about that he's the one that's scoring the goals right now, coming off the bench. And they asked the Seattle coach Schmaltz or whatever his name is, should he start? And it seemed like no, he's not going to start, even though he's scoring all the goals.
Dave 1H says front office conspiracy. Ronan Allen says if Zach looks sleepy, just whisper front office into his ear.
Who said that?
Ronan Allen. Steve Johnson is happy with the effort and the 2 goals, but he's still concerned with the lack of offensive possession and the chances on goal. I mean, the shots on target, the Whitecaps had none in the first half, 3 in the second half, so 2 were obviously Montero's goals. Yeah. I'm struggling to think what the third one was.
It might have been just a shot from distance that Frei scooped up.
But yeah, it is a concern.
Yeah.
And Robbo's made it clear that Bobby Lenarduzzi's made it clear on Robbo's behalf that Robbo is looking to bring in a striker.
Did you ask him?
No, but I did. I got sent a message last night.
By Pigeon Carrier?
By Pigeon Carrier. It was from Hogwarts. It was an owl delivered it to me. And he was a hoot, by the way. We had a great laugh. But I got sent a message last night. Mark Burchell, current manager of Livingston.
Are we going to be allowed to say this on air?
I'm saying it on air. Who cares? Mark Burchell on LinkedIn. Mark Burchell used to play with Carl Robinson and Paul Ritchie in Portsmouth. He's the manager of Livingston just now, does a little bit of player agency and stuff. He put out on his LinkedIn page that an MLS gaffer had got in touch with him saying that they were desperately looking for a proven goal scorer that was currently in Championship or League One, coming to the end of the season, coming to the end of their contract, and would be willing to come to MLS for £3,500 a week.
Now, after some calculations that we did,
we worked
during the game, which we missed some of the game while doing these calculations.
Putting that into American dollars,
yeah,
227,000 American dollars would be the salary.
Yeah.
Which kind of is on a par for a backup striker.
Yeah.
How much is Will Bruin on? Do we know?
I don't know.
That would be about.
But you have to think it's Will Bruin's kind of money.
Yeah.
So we're not saying it's Robbo, and I actually asked Robbo after the game if it was him, And he said, why would I have got in touch with Mark Burchill to put that on LinkedIn? So he's saying it's not, but he does know Mark Burchill. But we do have John Park as one of the scouting coaches, so maybe it's John Park that's putting feelers out.
Yeah.
John Park from Celtic, Mark Burchill at Livingston, used to play for Celtic. Putting two and two together, is this the Whitecaps trying to bring in a Championship or League One player before the transfer window closes?
And another connection with Mark Burchill, one of his tweets was put out there when Robbo was initially hired, congratulating Robbo on the hire. Said he's one of the nicest guys. So there is a connection there, and so yeah, you're right. It might not be from Robbo directly, but there are always people sending out feelers, and that kind of gets circled around on football teams. We looked at some of the names of expiring contracts.
That's kind of at Championship and League One.
And one was Darren Bent.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd come for that. You saw Kyle
Lafferty.
Yeah.
Former Rangers player, Northern Ireland international, 28, 29, good age, proven goal scorer at times.
No.
And that was the thing, because the message said it had to be somebody that has a proven track record.
Yeah, because this is an issue of optics, right? We can't bring in someone who's
like an Octavio Rivero you're talking about.
No, because Octavio, at least like on the outside, kind of looked like, okay, he had some pedigree, but we can't bring in a player from too low down the football pyramid.
They don't want the Philadelphia getting a guy from League One. Yeah,
exactly.
League Two.
So, because optically, I don't think that would go over well.
No,
I could be wrong.
I mean, in the off season, Robbo was offered some top non-league players in England, but you bring in a non-league player, and again, optics, it's going to be like, why are you bringing in a non-league player? Whereas a lot of these guys are on more money than MLS guys, and a lot of them are better than some of the guys that's in MLS.
They just haven't had the opportunity to move up,
Johnny A said that Atlanta's not using Kenwin Jones, something we've mentioned before, and we sure could use him, but there is the salary issue there. Because Jones is a DP possibly at Atlanta. I'm not really sure.
If Atlanta's willing to get rid of him, they could always offer Ham to buy that contract down.
Are we going to talk about these rumors about bringing in another center back, or is that for another?
Yeah, no, we'll come to that as well.
Sorry, that to me is.
But one of your targets, Robbie Keane. I don't think he's going to go over for $225.
Well, let's just say, do not write off Robbie Keane coming to the Whitecaps. I keep going on about this.
Have you made the T-shirts yet?
No, but from what I've heard, and this wasn't from Robbo, I'll stress this. This wasn't from chatting to Robbo after the game tonight. But from what I've heard from a well-placed source,
decent sources,
Robbie Keane is a last resort. No, actually, that's not a good phrase. If we can't get a younger player in, Robbie Keane is on the table to come to the Caps.
If that's the case, then I wouldn't. Darren Bent would probably, because he's 33. Kyle Lafferty still might be.
If we can get something done by the transfer window, Robbie Keane is a guy.
But he'll come in before the transfer window is over.
Yes, he's out of contract, so he'll come in.
He's out of contract, but aren't there any MLS hang-up things because he's coming from another MLS club technically?
No, because he's no longer.
He'd be considered a free agent.
He's free agent.
But he hasn't put enough years in the league.
No, that doesn't make a difference at all.
Well, free agent in the traditional sense, in that he's not.
But that doesn't work in MLS, I thought. I could be wrong.
I think you're wrong. So that is on the cards. So some other messages here. Steve Johnson is happy with the effort and the 2 goals. Oh, we read that. But he's concerned about the lack of offensive possession and chance on goal. Ryan McLeod says, when you're cynical, the Caps are clinical. I like that. That's going to be our catchphrase.
That's a hashtag.
That's a t-shirt.
When you're cynical, the Caps are clinical.
That's like a segment.
Oh yeah, Johnny A pointed out that Predictapooch was also wrong.
Does that mean you got to put him down?
I hope not. I'll talk to the wife about that.
Did I say him? Is him? Right?
It is him. I think we'll deprive him of his bone tonight. Zach's waiting for me to make a follow-up. All I'll say is, after a win tonight, there'll be no bones deprived elsewhere. Greg Petrie says...
I'm not touching that.
Yeah, funny, that's what she said. Greg Petrie says, I also assumed that when MLS offered to foot the bill for the charter flight to Mexico rather than changing the MLS schedule, the Whitecaps front office leaped at that chance to save money while doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you? Who wouldn't?
Is that confirmed? Is that out there in the... I haven't heard it confirmed.
It was basically just that there was deals done, and we assumed that they'd paid for the charter flight. Funkmaster said third was Laba. I'm not sure what the first two were, because I don't know what that was in relation to, but third was Laba. Funkmaster, unless the Caps start playing two strikers, Kenman Jones is not really going to be much use here. But he's a guy you can bring off the bench. And I thought when it was 2-0, I thought we would see Kyle Gregg come on. And, I mean, the Whitecaps, they could have killed time with a little bit more substitution.
They only used two.
They didn't handle their subs very well tonight, I didn't think.
I was surprised that Tony... I know Tybert had a decent game, Lava had a decent game, but they still could have brought a third guy, Tony Chani.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't know if you were looking out the window, you guys were getting all this stuff, but Tony Chani ran about an easy 10K after the match and doing laps of the pitch.
Maybe he wasn't fit then?
They want him to be more fit to be ready for the Portland away match. Okay. I think.
Funkmaster's clarified the third being Laba was the shots on goal.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I don't remember that at all.
No, that's right. He shot it. He tried to get in and around the defender. He finally found a spot.
It is weird though that we did only use two subs.
Yeah,
it was weird.
I mean, when you're wanting to kill time.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he just didn't want to disrupt the flow. I would have pulled Tybert off. I wouldn't have started Tybert.
Okay.
Paul Ritchie actually.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about Russell Tybert because Paul Ritchie, former Whitecaps assistant coach, after I tweeted out about I'd rather have had Chani, I shouldn't have had Tybert. Paul Ritchie sent me a message saying, if I can find it here, did I change my mind basically after the game? He said, how are you feeling now? And I said, I still wouldn't have played him. I don't like Russell Tybert. And he said, sometimes you have to put the team before your personal preference. The whole club has to figure out how to win. And at this level, winning is basically the only measuring stick.
See, my thing about playing Chani instead of Tybert, I didn't know he wasn't fit, but I thought that the ideal thing would be because Dempsey is kind of a more physical number 10 instead of a playmaker, that I thought Chani would be a good matchup with him, and that's why I thought he would be the better option. But again, didn't know he wasn't fit.
No, I didn't. I think it's a surprise.
Or fit enough, actually, we should say.
We'll come to the centre-back and Effie Ambrose rumours in a little bit. We might even come to that in Sunday's show.
So, sorry, you felt good about Rusty today?
I thought he was all right. And he did make that one save off the line, too. Right. I can't remember what minute it was.
He wasn't terrible.
No.
Which is my backhanded compliment. Russell Tybert, he wasn't terrible. Is kind of his standard.
A couple of glimpses I saw him today. Once was giving away or losing possession, but I also saw some great tackles and some hustle, which I know are his trademarks.
He did do something that impressed me during the time, and I can't remember what it was. Was that clearance? Because I know you said that was Russell Tybert
off the line.
Okay, right, yeah. So that's
you're pressing knobs today, and you're not listening.
Right. I think he contributed to the victory.
No, and there was a moment too when he attacked, and I was going, "What's Russell Tybert doing so up to the field?"
I was really happy for him. I thought he played a decent game. And I think he's going home tonight, and he's feeling mostly positive about the match.
Maybe he gets a new haircut tomorrow.
I like how he's gone more mellow with the hairstyle.
With the 70s kind of curly.
Yeah. It's got he's kind of gone for like Noam Dar as well in NXT. He's kind of let his hair grow out a bit.
205 Live.
Well, yeah, 205 Live. But yet, I will say Tybert. I honestly can't say he impressed me tonight, but I can say he wasn't as bad as I thought he was going to be. He did well.
And he contributed to the victory, I think.
Everyone contributed to the victory.
It's a team
but a goal line clearance is a significant contribution.
Okay. So the Sounders, though, let's turn our attention to them because we've got some audio from the Sounders dressing room. There might be some Sounders fans listening to this. If you are, hello.
Fins up to you all.
Yeah, have a safe drive back to
Middle Cascadia. That's hard.
No, I'm not a big fan of.
I prefer Seattle as a city to Portland.
I like Portland.
Oh, I don't like Seattle. Right, I like the food in Portland. I like the food trucks. I like Blue Star Donuts.
What else more is there?
What do you not like then?
I love the egg carton, and if anyone is going down next weekend, it's a food truck. It's about a 15-minute drive outside of the downtown in Portland. It's called the Egg Carton. Check it out. They do a fantastic breakfast sort of thing. So, yeah, check that out. But as a city, aesthetically looking, Seattle is the much nicer city.
Yeah, but the traffic is worse there, and it's just
okay. Yeah,
and
but
the people.
But
Portland is dark, depressing.
It's
There's
the
hobos.
whole vibe of the
There's
city.
hobos everywhere.
It's the whole vibe of the city that.
And then you're so
I understand. I'm okay if you don't like it. I just
the road.
I don't hate Seattle as a city to visit and stuff and whatever for away games, but yeah, I probably prefer to go to matches in Portland personally.
Ryan McLeod agrees. Seattle is a much better city than Portland. I spit on Portland, he says.
Yeah, just don't do that in the away section next week. If you could, that would cause less problems. If you could just maybe spit not when you're not in the stadium, spit on it.
Ronan Allen does say though that he doesn't think anyone would notice if you spit in Portland.
That makes sense.
It is I walking the dog around downtown Portland at night. It's a scary thing. Yeah, the hobos are friendly and they're trying to hug my dog. I don't know what they're going to give my dog.
Everybody needs love.
Poor Bailey is like he's not a hugger. He's a very he's a border collie that keeps himself to himself.
So he's not like the other Bailey.
No. Ha! Oh, the wrestling things are coming thick and fast tonight. They're all going over Zach's head. Some more comments about Russell Tybert, which we'll get Steve to read out while I queue up the Seattle audio.
Oh, Ronan Allen says, isn't not playing Tybert is best for the team, which is fair. Funkmaster says, in fairness, Rusty gives a better shift tonight than he has in a long time, which we discussed. Funkmaster also, I respect Seattle team, the city, the fans are class, except Dempsey, F, Clint, Dempsey. F, I said F. You don't have to edit that out.
I think if we're editing things like that's one of the last things that would be.
And Van City Villa says there's hobos everywhere, Michael.
Oh, there are. And
in Portland?
Especially in Birmingham, where Aston Villa play. Hobos everywhere. But I know there's hobos everywhere, but they're there. There's been some horrible incidents at food trucks.
In Birmingham?
We're back in Portland.
Back in Portland, okay.
Anyway, let's move on from hobos. So we've got some audio lined up now. We're going to hear now from Seattle Sounders head coach Brian Schmetzer. I just like saying that, Schmetzer.
He wasn't a happy man.
No, that's the thing, right? But we'll talk about that after we play the audio.
I had a great conversation with him
after the game.
Yeah.
Was he more upbeat than he was during the scrum?
I got to listen to the scrum. Let me listen to the scrum.
Okay. Well, let's play that now for you.
Now let's
Here
see who lights
is
a fire under Brian.
Seattle head coach, and again we've edited some of this out. This is Brian Schmetzer.
I didn't talk to him afterwards.
What did you make of his performance?
Good. Scored 2 goals. Scored the game winner. Very good.
Stephen, looked like that was a game you dominated for 65 minutes, Coach. How did it slip away?
How? Well, I got to watch the tape, but preliminary stuff, I mean, all the possession in the world doesn't do you any good unless you can score. Having said that, 7 shots on target, 15 overall, 10 corner kicks. I mean, we had the ball there. Credit Osted, credit their defense, credit them getting a timely goal to kind of throw us off. At 1-0, we're not in panic mode, but at 2-0, that's a tough thing to swallow. But we got to figure out ways how to not let teams off the hook when you dominate them in some of the other stats that don't mean as much as a scoreline.
Simon Fred, Soccer Talk Vancouver. I mean, defensively, of the 2 goals you conceded, Montero got between Svensson and Fisher on the first one, and then Wingo, he got away from Wingo when he put the ball in. And then last week when Wondolowski scored, he was afforded a lot of space. Is that an area in your team that you're concerned about right now in terms of the defending in those situations?
Well, we had worked on it early in the week, blocking crosses and, staying with Wondolowski, Montero, all of the good forwards in the league. That's standard training for us, but we'll certainly ramp that up.
Right here. Michael McCall, MLSsoccer.com. Slow start to the season last year, slow start again this year. Does it feel different, the start this year, or is it the same things that led to the slow start last year as well?
A little different last year, just because, Jordy was new, Oba's deal, there were some other things. I think the team just needs to, get that one breakthrough game. Certainly starting 5 out of 7 on the road isn't helping us. But look, there's no excuses. There's no excuses. I thought we played well in San Jose, and we put ourselves in a position to grab points in San Jose, all 3. And again, tonight, before Fredy scored his goal, I was comfortable with the way the team was playing.
Ryan?
Coach, Will Bruin a little more time tonight than you have in previous games. He came through again. What went into the decision to bring Will on in the 67th, I think it was?
Well, because again, similar to San Jose, I thought we had the game under control, and I wanted to bring someone on that could, give us the goal.
Other questions?
Michelle Mendoza, live from Seattle Sports Timeout. Last year you stepped in and lit a fire. This year we have stats, but we're kind of blocking the fire. What are you going to do to start the burn?
Well, I think we do a fairly good job of getting them prepared for games. It's a tough league. There certainly are things that we will look at as a coaching staff to see if we can start that fire. That's certainly a fair question. Again, as always, we'll watch the tape and try and make corrections and prepare for LA.
Spencer Davis in the front. Will Bruin's come on and scored some late goals a couple times this year. Has that made you kind of decide that maybe it's time for him to start, or is that still not part of your thought process?
No, we talked about that. Remember last year we played with Jordy out on the left and Nelson up top. We've been kicking that around. He's a good pro. He was good tonight. I mean, he did his job, so he's definitely going to get some conversation.
Coach, in the first couple minutes in the second half there, you put a pair of really good chances kind of in front of net that were blocked and knocked away. Did something change in the opening minutes of the second half that led to those chances, or was it just better execution in the first half?
I would say that coming out of halftime, the execution, yes, was better. I think our play was good. I think the first 15 minutes of the first half, we were very good in possession. Maybe not as goal dangerous as we could have been, but second half, yes, the first 15 minutes, I thought we were on top of them.
So that was Seattle head coach Brian Schmetzer there. And we'll read some questions, or we'll read some comments. Zach's confused by delay, because he's listening to this stuff through the thing, and he's like, no, I'm still listening to it. We're back live, Zach. This is fun.
It's much easier in the studio.
It is. Finsky says, Schmetzer used to keep me after class to clean the Bunsen burners. Johnny A says, Schmetzer looks like Arnold Emst Todt. I don't know who that is.
I have to Google him.
Okay. Funkmaster, Brian Schmetzer, almost as fun to say as Stoffel Van Doom. Stoffel Van Doom.
Is that wrestling?
I don't know, but I like that. Stoffel Van Doom.
Oh, I get it. It's I found it. It's the villain from Indiana Jones.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good one, Johnny A. Good one.
Touché.
And Formula 1 could be Stoffel Van Doom. Anyway, Brian Schmetzer there. Now, see when Brian Schmetzer came here last September, October? Obviously, Seattle were in a good run.
And they won that game, I think. No?
Yeah, he was very upbeat, and it was a way different kind of persona tonight. It's as if the pressure's got to him. And it is, I said this in the preview show, it is hard for a head coach when you come in and the team's been crap, then you get them to go on a good run, and they win the MLS Cup in your first few months in charge.
Yeah.
How do you follow that up?
With another one.
And
It's
of
been a
course,
slow start.
as everyone keeps saying, nothing doesn't matter what you do the first half of this season, it's what happens in the second half.
Yeah, why are you saying that again? I thought we agreed to not say that.
Someone said, I think Fredy Montero said that during the week. So, someone made that comment that I was speaking to during the week, so I'm pretty sure it was Fredy. But I mean, Seattle, they've got off to a tough start. And Schmetzer said there, he doesn't see it exactly the same as last year. There was different factors at play last year, which I read between the lines to say Ziggy Schmidt was crap.
Yeah.
So I based it on that. But
well, it sounded like last year, like he had. I'm really not a fan of the phrase, but it sounded like he had lost the players, lost the room, and some of the key senior figures with strong personalities and strong influence in the team kind of stopped listening or stopped following or stopped, engaging with how he was trying to encourage them to play and that led to the demise. That really led to their poor results and led to his demise, unfortunately.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they added Ladero. They added Ladero after Ziggy Schmidt was fired.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. So that was a big factor right there.
I know you guys are probably both gonna not.
You can talk about the Loney?
No, I know you're not gonna probably appreciate me saying this. Or you're gonna maybe this will sound duplicitous to you, but both Ziggy Schmidt and Brian Schmetzer, I have a level of respect for them both. As much as I don't like them because they're flounder coaches, Ziggy Schmidt, I appreciate his understanding of football and his approach to football. As much as I despise him as the flounder coach, I had this certain amount of respect for him. And I have a similar respect for Brian Schmetzer. Brian Schmetzer, I used to hate when he came to Swangard, and it was so, back in the day, I don't know if you remember how bitter it was in that small little place.
For folk that don't know, Schmetzer's been involved with Seattle for a number of years. I think it's been 7 years as Ziggy's main assistant coach, and then they had 7 or 8 years with the USL Sounders.
And he played for them way back in the day. And I don't know if you remember Swangard. I was talking to Preston Burpo. Preston Burpo is the keeper coach for Dead Bull.
Burpo's another.
And so when he came, we were setting up when they came into the ground that night, and I was like, "Oh, Preston, you must be so happy to be back in BC because he used to get it hard from the south end." And he was like, I love Vancouver. I love coming to Vancouver. Swangard was the best venue in the USL.
And it will be in the PDL when TSS Rovers kick off there soon.
But no, Brian Schmetzer, I never liked him as the sounder coach. But I have a level of respect for him.
I do as well, and he really impressed me the way that he handled himself last season.
Totally.
But he does seem grumpier this year.
Oh, of course.
The stuff we played in the pre-game show, it was some dumb questions. Like I say, I cut some of the worst ones out from down there. It was people asking just obvious questions, and I cut some stuff out tonight, which was like obvious questions. There was one in particular, I think it was Simon that asked it, Simon Fudge. I can't remember what it was, but I cut that out because it was such a thing. It's like, were you disappointed that you let in 2 goals or something? It's like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of respect for him, and he's got a lot of respect for Carl Robinson as well.
Totally. And one of the things I appreciate about him the most, going back to last year, and I haven't talked to him tonight, I told him this, was when his first little press thing at their training facility after he was named interim head coach or whatever, I really appreciate his outlook on what a football club is. And everyone was asking about, what are you going to do, and how are you going to turn things around and all this stuff. And he just said, and obviously I like this because this is the same language I use to describe it, he just stood in front of the microphone and said, I'm a steward of this football club. I'm going to do my best for the football club, help us to move forward, help us to get points, help us to win, help us to achieve our goals. And when my time is done, my time is done. But while I'm here, I'm a steward of this. and it's my responsibility to try and do the best I can to move things forward, and that's what I'm going to do. And sometimes going to be successful, sometimes not. And obviously, last year was extremely successful, and this year's off to a little bit of a rocky start. Although they only have 2 losses in 6 games, that should be said too.
But they only have 1 win in 6 games. That should be said.
So moving on from the Schmetzer tribute, part of our podcast.
Yes. Seattle fans will be loving this. They'll be like, wow. I mean, Seattle fans hate Zach from carrying the Cascadia Cup around.
Trip through Lower Cascadia.
No, they only threatened me once on Twitter.
Yeah, but we don't have much of this to go. So we're going to play you some audio now from the Seattle players. We're going to hear first a 1-on-1 exclusive that Steve got with Stefan Frei.
Yes, he was happy to talk to me.
Yeah, no one else wanted to talk to Stefan Frei, but he wanted to speak to Steve.
You asked him about that save, didn't you?
I just asked a couple questions.
You didn't ask about that
didn't
save?
have too much time.
Oh, good.
No.
Thank you.
And then we're also going to hear from goalscorer Will Bruin. And since it's Good Friday, although, we've still got 11 minutes of Good Friday, another Cristian Roldan. So let's get that going now.
He was their man of the match, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was.
This is some audio from Seattle Sounders players.
Obviously, you guys had a slow start last year, but it ended up with a great result. Do you guys feel like it's similar to last year, or is it something different? And do you want to snip it in the bud and not get into a hole like last season?
Of course, we don't want to get into a hole like last year. That's a massive hole to climb out of. You're gonna you don't want to create that challenge too many times. So. I think it's been a bit more frustrating, not because we've been getting dominated in games. It's been very frustrating because we've played decent at times. We've gone down to San Jose and had a solid effort and score, and then need to hold on to it for 5 minutes, but don't. That's frustrating. We come up here, we dominate for the first 20 minutes. have nothing to show for. They essentially have 2 chances to score 2 goals. It's frustrating. Ultimately, all the possession and all all those stats don't matter. The only stat that matters is for us to have a W. So ultimately, at some point, that needs to come. That needs to happen. Are we going to panic at this point? No, we're not going to panic.
In North America, I don't know about Europe, but in North America, there's a lot of a term. It's called like the cup hangover, where you win a big championship, and then the next season is kind of like, because you've gone through so much in the playoffs that it's kind of hard to get back. It's hard to get back on track. Is that?
Yeah,
do you feel that?
No,
in here,
I
you
don't
guys
sense
had
it.
enough veterans to get over that.
Yeah, I think so. And honestly, like I said, I think there's a difference between last year's start to this year's start. We have first of all we have fought like in Houston to almost come back. We came back in Montreal. We took the lead in San Jose. We started out really well here, which is a tough game. So we're in games. We're not getting played off the park. We're definitely in it. So we just need to make sure that we reward our hard work that we're putting in by getting a couple points.
Sure. Thanks.
Feel coming on a little bit earlier than you have in previous games.
Yeah, it felt good. Try to utilize the minutes I get, and feel like I did a good job of that.
How are you able to finish that? It seemed like a really tough angle you had on that Nico cross.
Yeah, it was a great ball. I was just getting in the box, trying to get in dangerous spots, and he played a great ball in, and I just made sure I put it on frame.
Did Schmetzer give you any specific instructions beyond score a goal? Was there any specific way that he wanted you to kind of change the game up there?
He wanted me to score 2, but no. He just said, I'm fresh legs coming in, kind of do some extra work, cover for guys that have been going, and just get in the box and try to call us out of it.
You guys come up with a number with the close chances, especially in the final seconds. Is it possible to will in a late equalizer?
We almost did that last one, but I don't think we should be in those situations where we're having to push numbers forward. I think if we can start out a little quicker and a little more aggressive in the final third and put ourselves in a better situation coming into the last 15 minutes, then we can avoid these problems.
Play out of the back. We wanted to dictate the game, obviously, but that was our intentions in the first half. I think the intentions were always there to, press and try to dominate the game. And second half, I thought we did so. First half, there were spells where we did, where they did. But second half, I thought we played really well. We created chances, but at the same time, we got to be a little bit more careful in the back. And Fredy had two really good, poacher type goals, and that's the story of the game.
What do you think they need to do to finally get those chances away? Is there anything as a team that you need to work on?
Yeah, I think the last 3 goals have been on crosses. We have to stay with our runners, stay with our marks. Obviously, it's difficult sometimes when they come from behind. You can't see them, but at the same time, we got to open up our bodies and really see the field and command the box, because that's where goals are scored.
You guys had a slow start last year. Is it making it a little bit easier knowing that what the final result was last year, or do you just want to nip this in the bud and get going?
Yeah, I think we want to get going. We don't want to put ourselves in a hole like last year. It was very difficult a way to end the season, and having to win maybe like 8 out of 10 games. We can't put ourselves in that type of situation, and we have to start winning. That's just the story to it. We have to start winning, and it starts with away games. Obviously, home games are a little bit easier, just because it's such a difficult league to play on the road. But we can't put ourselves in that situation again.
A lot of teams that win championships, they kind of deem it the next year as like a hangover to start the season. Do you guys feel like that, or is just you feel like confident that you can get out of that kind of loss?
Yeah, I don't think this is a hangover, to be honest. I think we're playing well. The last 3 games, I thought we've played well. Obviously it's a difficult circumstance, having to go on the road 5 out of 7 games or whatever. But I don't think it's a hangover. I think we're just not finding luck. We're creating chances. I think we hit the post a couple times. We had a couple shots that were denied on the line. So we have to just be a little bit more clinical and be obviously steady in the back.
So that was some thoughts there from the Seattle locker room. Anyway, we heard from Stefan Frei, Will Bruin and Cristian Roldan. I feel I've said that a lot.
And they were the only ones willing to talk. A couple of the players, the higher profile players, kind of like zipped out of there as soon as they could.
It's too bad Brad Evans wasn't here. You can ask him this question.
I think he was hurt. Alonso got on there quick. And
I think Alonso might be staying with Fredy and his family tonight, because he doesn't seem to be going back on the bus with them.
And the funny thing is, there was a lot of Seattle reporters there, a lot of coming up to BC Place.
Yeah, there was.
None of them even attempted to ask for Dempsey. I guess they know who to ask for and who not to, because nobody even.
Yeah, because everyone you asked, they didn't give you.
Yeah. And then Alonso too was really like, oh, if he wants to talk, and he basically didn't want to talk, and so he left, and they gave him Roldan.
That was fine.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you for being with our first sort of post-game show this season. Just before we go, we've got Portland coming up next Saturday. We've kind of touched on it already. Hobo Town. Someone did point out that they're not actually hobos; they are actually just hipsters. That was Finsky.
Citizens.
And I do love Blue Star Donuts, and like I said, the egg carton, check out the egg carton. They do a fantastic spicy sausage patty. And
how spicy? I like spice, but not too much, not like burn your face off.
Oh no, it's not like that.
Okay.
It's in a hollandaise sauce, and it's fantastic. Really, really recommend that. We always go there. We'll be there on Sunday morning if anyone wants to come and join us.
You know where I go on Sunday morning in Portland?
Church. I'm going to guess.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. It's my church, the Church of the Egg.
The Church of the Egg. There you go.
So, Portland next week. Quick thoughts. Just round the table. Win, loss, draw.
Draw.
I think was that all you want?
Yeah,
okay.
Can't do quick thoughts.
Win. Sorry, win. Man,
I'm good for loss.
Cool.
What'd you say?
Draw.
Okay.
I'm going to go for a 3-0.
Win, lose, draw. Okay.
3-0 Portland win.
I think one thing that's going to be interesting is Sunday's USL match between the two sides at Providence Park, because there's a bunch of guys who did not play today, who weren't in the 18, or maybe who were in the 18 who didn't play, who are going to be playing in that game. And so with these USL games, we saw it just a little bit in the home game, maybe not as much, especially in the first away match, the opener of the season. These guys who are first team players, need. You say this all the time, Michael. They need to grasp these opportunities,
and they're not
with two hands.
The USL team is worse when those guys go down.
Some McKendry, I thought, played well in the game.
Yeah,
there are exceptions.
Yeah, McKendry. This is horrible for me to admit this. I never think of McKendry as an MLS player. I think of him as a USL player.
Shut your face.
Because he's never with the MLS
That's
team.
true. He's got a point there. I can understand.
I know
And it's like when I'm saying, oh, the MLS guys come down, I always forget Ben's an MLS guy. Yeah. And I've said that when I've interviewed him. I'm like, oh, when the MLS guys come down, not meaning him. And it's I've said that to him before. And I spoke to his dad about it. And I'm like, But yeah, I mean, McKendry's an exception.
So this Sunday, whoever it is,
we're going to have Nerwinski, I would think, and Cole Seiler.
Okay, the only one I know for sure is I'm pretty sure Cristian's going to be there.
Yes.
I don't know if Jake is or not yet.
Saw him tonight.
I don't think Jake knows. Because I don't think Jake knows.
Spencer Ritchie might be in goal. But anyway.
No, Melvin. I think Melvin's
Oh, Sean get a start. So there's that game coming up on Sunday, so watch out for that. Talking of Sunday, we're going to have our live show on CITR Radio. It's going to be a live show where the buttons are easier to work than this.
Yes, and
the Wi-Fi is better.
The Wi-Fi is better.
Yeah, we don't need Wi-Fi because we're live on the air.
And we're hoping to do a roundtable.
Well, we are doing a roundtable.
Depending on if anybody shows up. You have to say that.
You're so pessimistic.
I am pessimistic about people showing up.
We'll just get.
We have 2 to 3 special guests coming to join us on Sunday for a round table.
Michael will just gather some quote unquote hobos or hipsters and bring them in.
Well, there's a lot of UBC.
Yeah, and if folk don't turn up, Har's always a last resort. We can always get Har up.
And also, don't forget, tweet it from both of our Twitter pages. There is a survey we're doing, and we will post those results during the show tomorrow.
Are you filling out the survey? Do I got to fill the survey?
Johnny A says, is it an open invite for Sunday? Yay, come along. Van City Villa wants us to bring Predictapooch to the round table.
No dogs allowed in the studio.
He does talk less and make more sense than Zach sometimes. So. Burning question from Ryan McLeod.
Yes.
Do you agree that Maurice is better at playing Nicky Bella than Nicky Bella is at playing Nicky Bella?
100%.
Yes.
100%.
I love Maurice.
Maurice is fantastic.
I could have a whole 2 or 3 hour show just of Maurice.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Wrestling. Maurice is amazing.
A star. She could be a star, man.
Yeah.
She's really good.
Even my wife likes her. My wife made a WWE reference at work this week and sent me an email going, you would be so proud of me. Anyway, this is the end of this show. Thank you for being with us. I know there's been some kind of teething problems on the mics and stuff. We'll try and play that out or sort this out. I'd like to do this again.
Sure.
Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, let us know. If you don't want to ever hear from us do this again, say that as well. We won't do live ones, we'll do pre-recorded ones. Before we go, let everyone know where we can find us online.
On
Steve?
Twitter at WhitecapsBeat.
Zachary?
Zachary, or at Zachary AM, and I'm a part of the Movement Curva Collective.
You can find me on Twitter at AFTN Canada. I'm Michael McCall. Read our stuff away from the numbers, aftn.ca online. Got a lot of stuff that we've got coming next week. I've got so many interviews that I've got in the books that I just haven't used, and
It'll be a special podcast, maybe.
yeah, might do that as one of our extra ones. But anyway, thank you for being with us. It's been a fantastic night. It's been a good Friday. It's been a great Friday. It's been a fantastic Friday. Thanks to fantastic Fredy Montero. So until next time, which will be Sunday, thanks for listening. Take care and mon the caps.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.